This is Ambient Guitar Basics. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the fine art of ambient swells. Let's get to work. That's right, we're going to look at two different techniques for creating ambient swells, but before we get there, we need to set up our signal path to create a sound that will work well with ambient swells. Here's my clean tone. And it's not a bad tone. But it does have some limitations for ambient swells. Now listen to this note. There's not a lot of sustain, and that's not going to work as well for us as a note that has more sustain for the volume swell. So I'm going to add in a compressor. Oh, that's a lot more sustain. Here's without the compressor. With. Yeah, that's really nice. So as you will hear, that's really going to help us out as we use our swelling techniques. Next up, I've got a distortion. If you want dirtier tones, that's a great thing to have. Okay, and obviously you can set that up however you wish. I've got a little light crunch. And then we need something to create that ambience for the swell, and in this case I'm using a delay. You could also use a reverb pedal too, or you could use them both together. But here's my delay, that's the Strymon Dig. Just a really nice sound. All right, technique one for swelling is that big pedal in the middle of my pedal board, the one that says Morley. That's my volume pedal. There are many brands. I like Morley, but there are tons of different brands that do it very well. The technique is the same regardless of the brand. You've got two basic positions for the big pedal in the middle. You've got a heel position, and if you put it in the heel position, no signal gets through. If you put it in the toe position, push down, signal gets through. All right, what's the art? The art basically is learning how to swell in the volume with your foot. Obviously, it's going to sound a lot better with the delay pedal or the reverb pedal. And as you can hear, there's a ton of things you can do with the technique. You can do simple swells with full chords, or you can play leads. And if you're playing leads, you can turn on that distortion. Really nice. You can also use your fingers if you're a finger picker, or if you know how to do hybrid picking where you're combining the flat pick with your fingers, you can play multiple notes at the same time to swell in. Yeah, it's just some really nice sounds. Now, one thing I should mention, depending on where you have the volume pedal in the signal chain, you're going to have a constant gain structure coming into the volume pedal. So I've got my distortion turned back on. Listen to the distortion as I bring up the volume. Did you hear that? The gain structure is constant. It's the same level of distortion in the tone. I'm just raising the volume of that distortion. And that's the same way in terms of the clean tone, because the volume pedal sits after the compressor. So it's a really great technique for just keeping a very constant tone as you're bringing in the swells. All right, let's take a look at technique number 2, and that is very simple. It is using the volume knob on your guitar, and really, it is simple. You take your pinky finger and wrap it around the volume knob, and you simply use your pinky finger to move the volume knob up and down as you play notes and swell in the sound. So, got the volume turned all the way down. I'm going to play a note and bring it up. Yeah. You can do that with chords. And again, it sounds a lot better with the delay or the reverb that you might have set up. Now, you can use distortion with this technique too. Also with chords. So part of the trick with this technique is just working with the pinky finger to kind of get the coordination down with actually picking the note with, your pick between your thumb and your forefinger. And as you can imagine, it does favor down picks versus up picks. So you do have some limitations. There are probably some better volume knob swellers than I can't really do it, who can do an up pick and do the swell in. So I'm kind of stuck with the down picks. You're also limited in terms of how you might use your hand to create chords and notes. So for example, it's a lot harder to do hybrid picking with reaching your pinky finger down. Again, some better players may be able to do it. It's hard for me though. So I find it best for like kind of full chords and then, playing little leads or maybe like a double stop kind of thing. But one of the great things about using the volume knob is that it varies the gain structure moving through your signal path. What I mean by that is that the volume knob sits in front of the compressor and the distortion. So as you bring up the volume knob, the distortion level increases. And you can use that in a very creative, artful way to just create a very emotional line. So again, that is a lot different than the volume pedal. Here's the volume pedal doing the same basic thing. The volume knob. And the volume pedal, obviously. So the question is, which one is better? Well, the simple and short answer is neither is better. They're just different, and they create different sounding effects. Do you have experience with either, both, or one of these techniques? Which one do you prefer? So drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Also, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please do so. Hit that bell notification. I've got more ambient guitar basics coming up, and I'll see all of you on the next video.